In this apartment in the Philippines, a British businessman named Stephen Davis was shot dead by the unknown three men. Stephen was 21 when he was offered a job abroad by a computer company and sent him in Hong Kong. He was engaged in a new hobby. He joined the flying club in Angeles City, a sex capital of the Philippines. A lot of women really like him, because of his innocence. But one of the prostitutes caught his eyes and fell in love with her, Evelyn Bohol. Evelyn grew up in Samar, a remote area in the Philippines, and can only reach it by boat. There's no running water and electricity, even sanitation. According to her family, she grew up as a good and a well-behaved girl. She almost spent her time in the house doing the house chores. When she asked by their relatives what kind of job she wanted to be, she says she wanted to be a bar girl so that she can marry an American. She was 13 when she decided to leave for the new opportunity to help her family because they are very poor. As what she wished for a job, she went in Angeles City, wherein many young ladies are working in different nightclubs to earn easy money to send for their families. In exchange, they dance almost naked on the stage in the night or having sex with their customers. In the beginning, she was embarrassed of what she was doing. That's why she needed to take drugs to cope with the situation. The only way out for these girls is to get a wealthy boyfriend. And she was one of the lucky girls when she met Stephen. He fell in love with Evelyn the moment she saw her. He took Evelyn out of the bar and paid $500 for her to release. She was comfortable with him because he was kind and had a lot of money. When Stephen's mom, Margaret, discovered this, she was shocked and very disappointed. She had nothing to do with his decision until she met her. Evelyn was quiet and polite. They got married on March 20, 1997. The first thing she was noticed, when the two invited her for their honeymoon in a tropical island, Puerto Galera, she noticed that when Stephen tried to hold Evelyn's hand, she put her shoulder away from him. When they built their own family in Hong Kong, Stephen's mom noticed that he was the only provider of Evelyn's family. He sent them big amount of money to build a comfortable house and to buy a fishing boat. As a mother, she was worried about it. The couple had their first baby, Jessica. 2 years later, the second child was born. They named him Joshua. The family moved from Hong Kong to Angeles City. They rented an expensive house. Stephen was earning £60,000 a year as a computer technician. Evelyn's life was very different when she married Stephen. She had a comfortable life. Margaret also noticed that Evelyn became lazy. She hired employees to do the house chores and to take care of the children. She did nothing in the house as if she was a princess. She was not the same as she was before. There are times that Margaret saw Evelyn busy texting or always communicating with someone. She suspected Evelyn having an affair with someone. Gina, the sister of Evelyn, was moved to their family to work as a nanny of the kids. She confronted Evelyn about the rumor of being had an affair with other guy. At first Evelyn denied this. But finally she admitted. She said that they are having a family problem and it is because of Stephen. The suspected man of Evelyn's having an affair with was a local security guard. His name was Arnold Adore. Evelyn's strange behavior became worse. She's always missing in the house and having trouble with the money. One day, Stephen discovered that their wedding ring was pawned by Evelyn. Despite these, Stephen still wanted to fix their marriage. They had a deal. He will continue to give her an allowance, get a job, or go to college, or else he would file a divorce and she would go back to her previous job as a bar girl. But nothing changed. Because of this, Stephen had to stop Evelyn's allowance. One night when Stephen was with his friend's apartment for a business, his friend woke up when 3 men came in. One of the men held the gun on his head and said, "Is this him?" When the other one replied, "No," the man holding a gun went into the room, where Stephen was sleeping. A minute later, Stephen's scream was heard all over the house and followed by 3 to 4 shots of the gun. The 3 men immediately leave the apartment. On July 18, 2002, Margaret got the news, Stephen was dead. It was a bomb exploded to her ears. She couldn't believe, Stephen at the young age, was gone. As soon as she heard the death of her son, she flew to the Philippines. The only person they were suspected was Evelyn, but there were no enough evidence that could link to her. Margaret was very observant. Evelyn was acting suspiciously during Stephen's wake. She didn't even upset for the death of her husband. The police investigation in the Philippines was moving slowly. Margaret promised to take things into her hand. She hired a private investigator. The investigator worked hard for it. He discovered that there were two men who come regularly to Evelyn's house, one as his lover and the other man as his friend. Margaret gave this information to the police. And Stephen's friend identified one of the men who came into his apartment the night that Stephen was killed. They were both arrested. After 2 months, Margaret went home, took back Jessica, Evelyn's daughter, and Joshua the younger was left to Evelyn's parents. But after another 2 months, Margaret flew back to the Philippines for Joshua. This time Joshua was with Margaret. Even Margaret was on the other side of the world. She didn't stop working just to prove that Evelyn was guilty. She had spent a lot of money to investigate the crime. The family of Evelyn was cooperate in this investigation. Evelyn's brother-in-law, Robin Budas, Gina's husband, finally admitted that he was the third man on the night Stephen was murdered. Evelyn's lover was the one who shot Stephen on that night. Robin was the driver and Evelyn who served as a lookout in the car. But Robin was set free in return for providing the evidence. They thought Stephen was millionaire so that Evelyn will get the money. On February 2004, Evelyn was arrested in charge because she was the mastermind of the crime. But still, Evelyn denied about the crime despite the strong evidence they got. Evelyn was found guilty of murder and sentenced reclusion perpetua or will serve for 40 years in jail.